let it settle in. Where should I begin? Lost and proud, but maybe we'll win. Cause time's still on our side, so let go of your pride. None of that anger is helping you anymore. Different time, a different part. Promise me, broken heart, something big.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, then welcome to the chaos. I do all things music related on here, from audio engineering style content to production and songwriting challenges, just talking about music and musician life. Today's video is about a microphone, but this isn't like a mic tryout video or a mic comparison video, which I've done a lot of those recently. Today I just want to talk about a microphone that I use very frequently and why I use it, and just give you some demonstrations of it, because we're going to talk about this guy here, the SE V7. This is my go-to mic when I am singing live, which if you've followed me for a bit, you probably know I do a lot because I do the cover circuit. That's one of the main ways that I make my money. And this is my go-to vocal mic of choice. Started this video with just a little demonstration of what this mic sounds like through a recording of my song in here, fully acoustic, just a DI'd acoustic guitar and this mic on my voice. That's all we've got on that little recording.
Broken heart, something big, something new, something that seemed born to. Something that we thought was worth fighting for, but now you're not sure.
So that will give you a bit of a feel for what it sounds like. Obviously though, that's not going to give you a perfect feel for what this mic sounds like, because as it is, the main purpose of this microphone is for use as a live vocal mic. Kind of going to want to hear it on some actual live vocals in real life. So I've hunted back through and found some videos of me performing so I can show you what this sounds like roughly coming out of my sound system. So I'll have some clips here where I will play you what it sounds like when I take a recording out of my XR18. But I will also show you what this sounds like just over camera audio when it's actually coming out of my speakers when I sing live.
Suddenly I see, I know you wanted me to stay, but I can't ignore the crazy visions of me in LA. And I heard that there's a special place where boys and girls can all be queens every single day.
So there's a few demonstrations there for you of what this mic actually sounds like in use. But anywho, on with the rest of the video. So let's just talk about the microphone itself. The SE V7, I keep calling it a live vocal mic, but obviously that doesn't really tell you much of anything about the mic, except that you're probably going to make some presumptions about it because I say it's a live vocal mic, because generally a live vocal mic is going to be a dynamic, which this is. You can use a condenser microphone live. Most people don't though. As a general rule, condenser microphones are a little bit more prone to issues with feedback in live settings. As also a general rule, condenser microphones don't tend to like massive changes in dynamics, which when you're in a live setting, a lot of the time, you're going to find there are some pretty dramatic changes in dynamics going on. That isn't always the case, but most of the time in a live setting, you're going to want something that isn't going to feed back quite as easily and is going to be able to deal with those dynamic ranges more, which is why a lot of people go for a dynamic microphone, and specifically they go for a cardioid microphone. So you might be assuming this is a cardioid pickup pattern, and you wouldn't be entirely wrong, except that this microphone is actually a super cardioid pickup pattern, as you can see. What does that mean? It just means it's got this little bubble at the back. It's the same sort of heart shape as a cardioid, but it's also got a little bubble at the back. Now, I'll just pop some specs up on the screen for you here, because I'm not really interested in going through all of the specs and telling you what kind of metal different parts of it are made out of, because you can just go and read that. Like, I don't see any point repeating that in a video to people, because you can go and read that if you're interested in finding out what the different parts of this microphone are made up of. And you can see what its kind of frequency response is, and you can then also see what its frequency response is for the different places on the polar pattern. But obviously, you watch a video about microphone because you're more looking for a demonstration, you're looking for the person's thoughts and opinions. So let's just demonstrate this mic a little. Something else you want from a live vocal mic is you want it to handle quite well. And what I mean by that is you want it to not be really freaking noisy when I do things like this. And that is something I really love about this microphone, is that it's not really freaking noisy when I do things like this, you know? You're going to get some noise when I handle it like that, but I can handle it like this. Pulling it off the stand is a bit different. You're going to get a little bit of noise when I pull it off the stand, but when I'm handling like this, you don't get much noise, which is what you want from a live vocal mic, because a lot of time you're going to be hand holding them. Now, this isn't unique in terms of dynamic cardioid microphones of this type, you know, that are designed for live vocal use. Most of them are going to have pretty good rejection of sound. In my opinion, what makes this microphone a bit unique in comparison to some other dynamic microphones of this type that generally get used for vocals, because I've used quite a few in my time, because I've done a lot of gigging and I've done a lot of playing gigs where other people are handling the sound. So many. I've tried every single cheap one out there because I've been to so many open mics, and you're always discovering new brands of cheap microphone that people are buying. The joke is all of these microphones are pretty cheap. Like, this was 80 quid when I bought it. I don't know what the exact price of it is now, but when I bought it, it was like 80 quid. And I would say that the thing that marks this microphone out from every other one that I have tried of this type is its frequency response. So SE, when they advertise this, they brag about it giving you a full sound to your vocal, and they also brag about it giving you a lot of clarity. And they brag for a reason. Then you know that a constant struggle you are having with sound at gigs is people having to set your vocal level so that when you belt, you aren't destroying everybody's ears in the room. And quite often you're having to back up quite a bit from a microphone if you're quite loud, like I am, and then have to get quite close when you're quiet. And a lot of the time I find the issue is that they will set a level that is fine for when I'm full-blown belting, but that doesn't work quite so well when I am quiet. And so my quieter low notes tend to get completely lost. I find that, one, this microphone handles its dynamics extremely well, even for other, you know, even amongst dynamic vocal mics, this handles changes in dynamics extremely well. Like, I do not have to back up anywhere near as much from this microphone when I do high notes. In fact, if I just do a quick demonstration now of broken heart, something big, something new, something that seemed important to you, something that we thought was worth fighting for, but now you're not sure. So when I belted that note just now, just looking on Logic, I think I was peaking somewhere around the -15. Right, because I've got this now set at a level for my speaking voice to be coming out at a decent level in there. So that's higher than I would normally have it set when I'm singing like this. It's peaking around -18 when I'm just talking like this. So that was quite a bit louder that I went there than just my natural speaking voice is. And I barely had to back up to ease that off enough that it's not going to cause me any issues. You know, that would be perfectly acceptable, that peak at -15. I swear it's almost like this microphone has a built-in compressor. I'm pretty sure I didn't see that anywhere in the specs. And then also, it's got a really great frequency response. So obviously, if you're backing up loads from a microphone, then if I just demonstrate now, the more I back up from this microphone, the main thing that you can hear then is that you lose bass as well as volume. So when you're in nice and close to a microphone like this, you get a really nice bassy signal. When you're further away from a microphone like this, you get a less bassy signal. And obviously that's what contributes to that fullness of vocal tone, right? So a combo of me not having to back up from as much from this mic, but also when I'm up here on top of the mic, I'm not getting something that's overwhelming in terms of its bass response. I am getting something where I'm just able to be that little bit quieter at this kind of distance. And those low notes don't tend to be like overwhelmed with bassiness. They just come through that little bit clearer. And that is the big thing, is this mic, it does just offer a lot of clarity, which is what you really, really want from a vocal mic. You want a microphone to be doing as much of the work for you as possible so that you don't have to sit there and EQ the vocal so that it actually stands out over the guitar. You want to be able to make just a few EQ moves here and there to make things sit that little bit better, but you don't want to have to be fighting to make your vocal and your guitar actually sit nicely together. Anyway, so that's why I love this microphone, because I just think it is a really great live vocal mic. It doesn't sound as tinny and as just lacking as a lot of live dynamic vocal microphones can be. You know, you can often lose a lot from a vocal performance by singing it into a mic like this, which is why I am perfectly happy using this mic in this kind of setup as well. If you're doing a setup like this to just record some of your songs acoustic, then a lot of the time what someone's going to do is they're going to stick a large diaphragm condenser in the room, or they're going to have a large diaphragm condenser in front of the voice area and then another condenser around the guitar kind of area. But generally people are going to pull out their nice condenser microphones, you know, things that give you those lovely full tones. And there are a variety of downsides to that in that kind of live recording setup. You're going to be fighting spill in each mic no matter what. You're possibly fighting phase issues. You can try as much as you like to follow the 3-to-1 rule, but when you're dealing with two different sound sources, voice and guitar, obviously it becomes much more difficult to actually set the microphones in a way where you're not going to have phasing issues. And usually those phasing issues aren't something as simple as, oh, well, it's completely out of phase. Usually it's little things where first you think it's not out of phase and then you come back and you're editing and mixing and stuff later and you're like, oh, actually the vocal sounds fine, but the guitar suddenly loses something when I have both mics in, and that thing is that it's out of phase. Anywho, a kind of setup where you are DIing an acoustic guitar and using a dynamic microphone like this with the cardioid pickup pattern that rejects so much of the sound that goes around it because, oh, I didn't do this demonstration, I forgot to do this one, where, you know, when you speak off to the side of this microphone, around here, from the back of the microphone, if I keep turning the microphone around into different places, you can hear how different it sounds and how much it rejects sound or doesn't reject sound from different places. And you can hear in the demonstration, if I mute the guitar DI, you can hear how much of the guitar actually comes through when I am singing into this mic. And that is not very much at all. You know, it rejects the sound around it very well. That's what makes it good for a live setting use. And that's what also makes it good in these kind of live recording type settings, if you're looking to try and isolate two sounds a little bit more, to be able to treat them a little bit better, to reduce the issues of phase issues, or in this case even just literally make it so that phase isn't something you have to worry about really at all. It makes it really handy for that. And I'm happy to use it in these situations because I think this actually competes with my nice large diaphragm condensers. I've got one of my nice large diaphragm condensers in the room doing some of the sound here because I was pretty sure that I was going to be doing the demonstrations and then like forget to actually talk into the mic properly at certain points because I'm not used to doing that in this setup. But you can hear the difference between how this large diaphragm condenser that is just placed in the room sounds in comparison to me talking into this mic, and get a feel for the fact that, yeah, there is a difference. You'll be able to hear a difference there. If I can, and I'm in any sort of situation where I'm looking for what I would say is the best mic to do a vocal recording for me on, then I'm probably going to go for this specific mic. This is my go-to vocal recording mic, usually the JZ-V11 that I've talked about in other videos. And actually, part of what inspired me to do this video was a video that I put up a few weeks ago where I was doing a vocal mic shootout just to confirm that this is the vocal mic that, of all the mics I currently own, this is what I like to use on my vocals best, and that I was happy with that. But I also thought it'd be a fun video, and in that video I actually used this mic as well, because I used a selection of sort of relatively random mics, just basically almost every mic I own, and then also a Neumann U87 that I have access to through the studio that I use. And in that video, you know, people actually commented that this mic really held its own against some fancy condensers, because it does. Like, this is a perfectly acceptable mic, in my opinion, to record my vocals on in settings where it makes sense to use this, because it's not practical to use this. I'm gonna go with that whenever it's practical to do so. But when it's not, I don't lose too much using this mic. This mic is a really, really good vocal mic, not just in a live setting. Which is why, other than as my gigging microphone, a way that I frequently use this mic is if I'm doing a setup like I did for the start of this video, where I want to sit down and just record some acoustic covers like that. I would do a comparison between this and what is generally considered the go-to live vocal mic. Why would you buy any other live vocal mic? The one that I was going to get as my first ever microphone. The only reason I didn't buy an SM 57, 58, 57, 58. No. The 57 is the one I have. Yes, knew it, totally knew that. An SM58 is what everyone says you should just get as a live vocal mic, right? And I was going to get one of those for my first live vocal mic, but when I went to buy basically the full kit that I needed, you know, a full PA system, the shop I went in, they recommended me my Yamaha. And more recently, I went back there and I bought my new EV50 that I now have. Anyway, point being, I got this microphone because this was what the guy in the shop recommended, the JTS NX8. And I do still really like this mic. This was a good little mic. The main reason I ended up buying it and not going with the 58 was because I tried this out in the shop through the system because I needed a microphone to try the PA system. Tried this out in the shop and I was like, I like how all that sounds, so why would I now go and buy a different microphone? It's around the same price as this, actually a little bit more expensive. A 58 would have been ever so slightly more expensive, when I can just buy this microphone now. And I'm perfectly happy with it. And I was perfectly happy with it for years, until I decided that I wanted to get myself a V7 because I'd heard V7s. I think I bought it at the same time as I bought my SE4400s. So I just bought them both together. I thought, I'm just going to get myself a V7 while I'm at it. It's always good to have a backup mic, and I thought if I didn't like it more than this, then at least it could be my backup mic. Now this is my backup mic. But yeah, so I don't actually own a 58 because I bought this instead. So I can't do a comparison between this and an SM58, which is a video I'm sure exists out there because people do those kinds of videos where they're comparing a particular type of mic for a particular use to the mic that everyone says you should get for that use. But now I do wish I had a 58 so I could actually do a side-by-side comparison and really see. Because obviously I've sung through them before, so I know what they sound like. And I'm pretty sure I like this better. But I've never done a full-on side-by-side shootout. So at some point, maybe I should do that myself. Anywho, that is all I wanted to say. I just wanted to wax lyrical about a microphone I love again because I love waxing lyrical about microphones. If you enjoyed this video, then you might enjoy my content on this channel in general, in which case you might want to hit that subscribe button. But I know that's a big decision to make. You wouldn't want to subscribe and unsubscribe. So do feel free to check out some other content before you do so. There'll be something recommended on the end screen for you. Most likely some sort of mic shootout video. If you want to follow me on the various other socials that exist out there, then all of those are linked below, including links to my artist socials, which if you liked the song that I used in this video, then spoiler alert, that's one of mine. It's out. It's in the world. You can go and listen to it. It'll be playing again on the end screen, most likely. Links to where you can find all of that in the description. Last but not least, there is also a link down there to my Buy Me a Coffee account, which is how you can support me with money if you like. You can send one-off donations on there if you just wanted to say cool video mate, but you can also subscribe to a monthly membership that gets you access to extra behind-the-scenes style of content. And I promise the people who subscribe to my specifically artist tier, there's going to be stuff soon. I'm just very disorganized. I tend to end up dumping stuff in large loads. But anywho, if you want to check that out, linked in the description. Okay, I'm now going to go out and use this microphone at an actual gig. I'll see you guys next time with another fun music-related video of some sort. Bye!